Everybody, it's Michael from Replica Airguns with another field test shooting video. We have the Crosman Vigilante. This is a CO2 powered pellet revolver, pellet and BB revolver. Check out my tabletop video review that I did already for specifications, features, close-up video, all of that. This product is in our Canada and our US Replica Airguns store over at replicaairguns.ca for Canada and replicaairguns.us for the US. So I'll put links in the description if you're interested in purchasing it. So today we're going to do the chronograph test. We're going to test out the pellets. So I've got a pellet magazine that holds 10 rounds, and then I have a BB magazine that holds 6 rounds. And so we're just using basically SIG pellets, about 7-grain pellets, and we're going to put a bunch of shots through the chronograph first to test out feet per second for pellets and BBs, standard steel BBs, okay? And then we're going to do an accuracy test as well, shooting both pellets and BBs, because why not? Let's see if they're going to be comparable. You know, I would imagine they should be similar, but I'm hoping the pellets will perform better, will have more raw energy. They might shoot a little slower, but they should have more raw energy because they're heavier, 7 grain versus about 5.1 grain. And in terms of accuracy with the rifled barrel, we should see better results as well. So we are good to go. We've got the cross bolt off. We're going to put basically 5 good rounds through the chronograph so we can get a decent test. And let's start with that right now. 424, 396, 385, 387. We're going to do 5, but I'm going to throw away that first one because a lot of times, put the cross bolt on, when you do put a brand new CO2 in, you'll get a bit of a hot one at first there. It's going to be a little bit hot, and that's what I experienced on that first shot. So just below 400 FPS is probably where it's going to average, around 390-ish, maybe just up above it. So now we're going to put about 4 BBs through it, just till we get something consistent here to see what kind of FPS we get with the BBs. All right, here we go. 360, 369, so they're slower. 359, 353. Okay, so put that cross bolt on. Let's pop this over here. So you might be asking yourself, why are the lighter BBs going slower than the heavier lead pellets? That doesn't make any sense, right? Well, oftentimes a steel BB is a slightly smaller diameter than a pellet. The pellet also has this sort of fluted rear section that seals in the barrel. So what's happening is the air can't get around the pellet, so all of the air pushes the BB or the pellet out. Versus a steel BB, some of the air can kind of push its way around the steel BB because it's not quite as flush with the barrel. The diameter is slightly smaller. It has to be that way. A steel BB has, it's not pliable, right? It's not soft. It's a hard steel BB. So you don't want it getting stuck in the barrel, whereas lead can form to the shape of the barrel. And even if it's slightly larger, it'll conform to it. It's a softer material, and so it seals better. So you're wasting less CO2 with the pellets versus the steel BBs. So that's why we saw those results. So obviously, you're probably going to want to use pellets if you want raw energy because they're heavier and they're going to be moving faster, closer to 400 feet per second versus around 360. All right, let's set up a paper target and see how well the Crosman Vigilante performs. We'll do 6 shots with each magazine in the target to keep the test similar, because I have 6-round magazine for BBs and a 10-round for the pellets, so we'll do 6 in each. I've got my paper target set up. Let's get right to it because we got 2 different rounds to test out here. And let's see if I can get some decent shots or some decent placements here. Again, 6 rounds for each because it's the 6-round magazine is the max capacity for the BB gun. So let's go for the BBs. Let's start with pellets here. Wow, trigger's kind of heavy, not gonna lie. Oh, that one was lighter. Kind of went off, but it looks like it placed about right. I'm gonna shoot some more just because I'm starting to feel it better here. I want to get a better idea of how this really shoots. It's feeling good now. The trigger was really heavy for some reason that first round. And now it feels really good. I think that might be it. Okay, let's take a quick look, change that target up, give you my feedback real quick here. Yeah, okay, so these guys were the first ones out of the barrel, a little bit up. It's well centered. I haven't adjusted these sights at all. A bunch hit in the same place here. I can see that. I got some that came around. You know, it was a lot of it was that first pellet. Kind of, I think it was just the way the magazine was in there. Maybe I should have spun it or something. But it was really heavy for some reason, just maybe the lining up with the gears and everything that first round. Once I got that one out of the way, it was perfectly fine, a lot lighter. Like it was like a 10 to 12 pound trigger pull on that first round, maybe more. After that, I'd say, you know, 2 to 3 pounds. So big, it changed a lot. You know, this gun's actually, from shooting these guns in the past, these Crosmans, the 357 line, they've always performed well. And you can get like 1/2-inch groups with these guns with the right pellet, with a little trigger time. So this is not a good representation of what this gun is capable of doing. Let's see what happens with the pellet or with the BBs. Maybe we can do something similar. Shouldn't really get as good. I mean, BBs typically are not as accurate as pellets, but this isn't a long distance to be shooting or further out. I mean, at 30 feet, it won't make as much of a difference as when shooting at further ranges. But let's find out what happens here. Okay. Trigger felt good right off the bat. Okay, it's hard to tell from back here, but they look like they were pretty well centered. Okay. Holes definitely, yeah. So it's spread out. Not bad, a little lower, but in terms of bullseye, you know, being placed well on the target, you can tell that it's sighted in okay. The BB's a little slower, maybe they dropped a bit more. This was, we're looking at least a 2-inch group here from bottom to top because these squares represent 1 inch. So 2.5 inches versus, I'm going to say, you know, closer to 1.5 inches to 2 inches with the other. It's going to be hard to tell now that I've shot through it, but you can see here that was, yeah, we'll say 1.75 inches. I know I can get, like I said, 1/2 inch to inch groupings with this all day long. Once I'm using pellets, once I've used to the trigger, you know, once I make sure I'm using the right pellets. I'm not sure if those SIG pellets were the ideal ones for the gun. Pellet choice does make a difference for each gun. Some guns will perform really well, even with other brands than normally you would think would work with them. So trigger not bad. Check out my tabletop video again for specifications, features, close-up videos. For like about $100 gun, it's a lot of fun. You know, these guns, they're kind of bulletproof. They've been around for decades. There's really not much to go wrong with them. You know, you're going to get good usage of CO2. And I like this Vigilante barrel. I think it's the nicest Crosman barrel on the 357 line. To me, it looks pretty good. You got lots of mounting points, and it just looks more modern. Really modernizes the gun with the combat grip. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Username is Replica Airguns. Again, check it in our Canada and US store at replicaairguns.ca, where I will put links in the description to buy in Canada and the US. And if you're interested in other products, we have air guns, BB guns, airsoft guns, blank guns, and accessories in both those stores. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.